Easy. We're sitting here. The next thing you know,
Okay,
that thing will be looking and we're down on the ground.
Call this meeting to order. 5 o'clock or a couple of minutes thereafter. This meeting going to be live streamed on www.youtube.com, Plympton-Wyoming /streams. Item number 2 in the agenda tonight, if anybody has a pecuniary interest, they can declare it now or at any time throughout the meeting. Item number 3 on the agenda tonight, adoption of the committee meeting minutes. It was moved by Christian Rodriguez, second by Gary Atkinson, that the minutes be adopted by the Fire Exec Committee, that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of the committee remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information Protection of the Privacy Act. So we have the minutes there of August the 11th, 2025. All in favor of those minutes? Are there any corrections or anything? Christian, you got?
Yes, if I may. Just on the fire ban topic, I did send an email out to everybody on the link for the Canadian government fire risk mapping. Just want to make sure you all received it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what you have on there? Anything? Business rising? Okay. Nothing else on those minutes. Item number 5 on the agenda. Moved by Gary Atkinson, seconded by Christian Rodriguez, that the Fire Exec Committee receives and approves payables for August 2025. You should have them in front of you. Big page here. A little easier reading. Anybody have any questions or concerns or page? Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple questions. First of all, the remuneration that went to Sarnia Police Services for the dispatch, is that the one shot per year that we pay, or do we pay that semi-annually? I think it's just about near the dispatch service for 2025. That's a one-shot deal, is it?
To the chair, yes, I believe that's our one shot as per our contract with them.
Okay, thank you. And from the fire prevention week kits, you see we bought them. Is that going to be enough for this year? You have anything left over from last year, Chief?
Yep, through the chair. That's a good question. I was looking through our supplies, and this year we're purchasing a little bit more than what we did previously, because our supplies from previous years are starting to get depleted, and I wanted to run them down a bit. They're starting to get a little bit outdated, so we'll just get rid of some of the older stuff as much as we can, and then get onto some newer material in these new kits. Not that it doesn't all change, drastically, but it's nice to keep it updated as we go. So I've asked for a couple of the most recent events. I've asked that they clean out the old stock and the stuff that's relevant to the event that they're having, and utilize that and try to build up a surplus with the new stuff that's coming in. It's already in.
Thank you. That's all I have at the moment, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Kristen, you have anything?
Oh,
Okay.
the $70 in the receivables. Do we know what that's for?
It was for the fire hall rental.
Oh, it was a different amount, so yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was it.
We have a couple on here. This may have been, I thought we'd seen this on last month's minutes, but the ladder number 3 truck, $15,000, replace beacons, lights, headlights. That money, if I'm not mistaken, came from your social group, correct?
Through the chair. So yes, that's I had this underline here to point out to you that is money that the Wyoming Firefighters Association had committed to paying. So we pay the invoice and then they'll reimburse us for that amount. Those are kind of the extras to that, to ladder 3.
And I think we talked about that the last meeting, didn't we, Chief?
We talked about that, but I think this is the first of that payment, first invoice there.
Okay, the other thing, this ladder 3 truck is becoming fairly expensive. I see another $2,774.70 spent on. I didn't think we drove it enough to have to change oil again, but maybe we did. Filters, and we're kind of coming to the end of, I know you got a safety check it every year.
Yeah, and through the chair, it is an older vehicle, so it will require more maintenance than our newer vehicles in the fleet. Plus, it has more moving parts. So, I'd love to say it's the end of it, but it's not the end for any of them. There's always going to be maintenance, and these older trucks, they shake a little more and have a few more problems and things like oil leaks and whatnot. So.
You know, the other thing I'm gonna mention, I know this is kind of nitpicky, but I'm looking at the hydro for July for Wyoming Station and hydro for Kamlaki Station. $792.27 for a month in Wyoming and only $420 in Kamlaki. Like, is that just for 1 month or is that 2 months there? Is that a 1 month cost?
1 month.
1 month? Like that,
Well, this would have been for what month?
July.
Yeah, very hot month. So
So, and that is, I can't tell you, I can only speculate at what drives these costs up, obviously, but we do use the Wyoming station for other events. It is more of a public building, so we have the building's air conditioned to the needs of whoever's using that building, so it's likely the air conditioners there. I looked at them the other day. They are original. They're getting pretty old. They're probably a lot less efficient than they were even, and of course a lot less efficient than new ones.
Kamlaki out there, do you keep your air running all the time?
Yeah.
Like the whole place is air conditioned?
It's the training area and a couple offices.
It was a hot July, there's no doubt about that. Okay, well, just only shocks me when you look at what, my air conditioning run 24/7 this summer, and I've never seen any rates anywhere near that.
Yeah, through the chair, that you compare the two stations, the difference between Wyoming and Kamlaki stations. Your house has an air conditioner similar to the one in Kamlaki. Wyoming station has 2 or 3 of those units. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's at least 2. So they're when those compressors run, they're be drawing a lot of power.
All right, well, yes, Chris.
if I may just follow up to the mayor. Speaking to the annual fees to the starting fighters. It was 34,893. In our budget report, it showed that there was 33,000 budgeted, so there's a little bit of a difference there. Do you know what? Like, when we budget, are we just,
Not
like,
aware.
I don't know how they get to
Yeah.
their yearly fees, so I don't
I'm
know.
not aware of the history of how that number was established. Chief Jordan may know, and let him speak to it in a minute. Did just have a meeting with dispatch, and we did talk about increases and the fact that we need to know before we get into budget deliberations, with those. So I'm not confident that we'll get a number, but I really tried to impress upon them that if there's going to be an increase, we need to know for budget time.
So you feel this was a result of the increase we just weren't aware of?
I would expect so. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, without any increase, I haven't seen that being in the position I'm in now. But originally, I believe it was $8 per person. That for the municipality. That when this contract started back in 2022, I believe. 23.
Yes, 23.
Maybe 23. Later. There might have been a price increase that that never came through me or anything else, and it shouldn't. Later, but for 2024.
Well, it's just the budget says one number and then
Yeah.
the cost is another number, so it just. So maybe in that agreement, there's some sort of an increase that happens. A population increase, probably adjustment.
There might have been put something in there, but there usually typical notifications, you gotta be notified so many months in advance or whatever days in advance, any increase or anything, so
Okay.
I don't think there's a built-in increase.
Would council like to know, maybe, or council committee like to know in the future? What cost increases looks like, so we're kind of aware.
I think the chief was saying that he was trying to get Sarnia Dispatch to confirm that in writing so that they could incorporate that into the budget.
But I guess so what I was saying was just in general, what the agreement was. The COI cost of living per year. Number, like general, speaking what you.
Yeah, I can report back on at the
Oh.
next meeting if you'd like.
We have to incorporate it in the budget anyways.
Someone helps us know.
Yeah, belt us up, no problem. Gary?
Sure, I think that should be back in the original agreement somewhere, should we not?
Yeah, I have the.
Yeah.
And I just have to go back to it. I looked at it earlier today and it didn't, wasn't looking for that specifically, but it didn't jump out at me. I didn't recall seeing it there, but it might be there.
Okay. Okay, anything else? No? All in favor? Payables for, it says for August. Gary, thank you. Okay. Item 6.1. Was moved by Kristen Rodriguez, second by Gary Atkinson, that the report submitted by Will Davison, Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, dated July 24, 25, regarding the Plympton-Wyoming Fire Department's second quarter report be received and forwarded to council for information purposes. Will, do you want to take this one?
Sure. With the chair. In front of you is this second quarter report. It's everything that was on the first quarter report. For the reason of keeping it same so that they're comparable. We don't have much to compare between the first and second quarters, but we will have, as I stated earlier in the report, we will have a comparison to do annually, and we will have a comparison to do on a 4-year basis, so that we can help shape our budgets and our level of service and whatnot. So overall, there's, our response numbers and our frequencies are fairly low. It's difficult to establish too much of a pattern with such small frequencies. So there they are. They'll all go into an annual. So if there's any questions from the report, I'd be happy to answer them.
Kristen?
Not on the report, it's good, but what I would like to see is the budget update separated from the report, because I do have questions on the budget version of this report. If I may,
I'm just, you want to separate the
future,
future budget from this report.
yeah, so it's on its
So
own,
you want just to report strictly on the budget.
yeah,
for the
under its
court.
own line item. Under its own line item.
Oh, I see. It's under there as an attachment.
Right. And I feel like they're two completely different subjects. So I think they just separated it in line and,
On the agenda.
yeah, that's all.
Okay.
And not grouped together like it is here.
It's part of the report though, so it has to go in the agenda as a with the report. I'm not sure how that.
So I think all the other departments provide quarterly reports, or at least attempt to provide quarterly reports. So it would typically be a short staff report just outlining and reviewing the quarterly expenditures. And then attach the budget to that.
So you're suggesting then a separate,
Could, or you could maybe continue to use the same report as long as you're identifying anything of interest in the budget. But then provide two separate motions for the committee to consider. And those motions could be separated within the report. We could help do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know it's technical. Here with this. I was merely looking at it as a separate subject from mine. I wasn't trying to cause you technical difficulties.
Probably all there on the budget anyways, because this only goes to what, the third quarter? Anyways, with the budget,
Well, no.
this is the second quarter budget.
Second quarter.
Go to the end of June.
yeah, then the June.
Like my impression would be this would be the time we would discuss this piece of the budget in this report.
It's just for public viewing too. It's just seeing two different line items there. One may not interest in one. That's all. So it's easier, just more clear. So if I may.
Yes. Sure.
So on page. So it's on page 9 of your complete report. Your dispatch reports. So but it starts at page 9. So I don't know if the page numbers are the same on.
Yeah, it says page 9 of 22, but it's
Correct.
on the right-hand corner, it'll say page 17 of 51.
So I think that's where someone, it's not a dispatch report and a budget report. It's a report on the overall fire department for that time period. So it really kind of encompasses it all, doesn't really break it out into dispatch and or.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's certainly not a dispatch. This is not a dispatch report.
No, I know. They're two separate subjects.
So what questions do you have on the budget?
So on page 9, which is the first page of the budget.
Yeah.
report, the meetings and monthly training. So our yearly budget is 90, I think. Sorry, 130. And we're already at 128. But when I look over on page 12, they also under fire training in the first top box, fire training programs. There was 25,000 budgeted there. So I'm just trying to understand what the difference is between that and the monthly meeting training allocation. So we budgeted 130 and then 25,000 on 12. And not very much is being utilized on at this point on page 12. Are you able to keep up with me? Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just waiting my turn.
So I'm just trying to understand. Those two correlate.
Through the chair, I think I understand your question. So what you're seeing on page 9 of 22,
Mhm.
first page of the budget, is wages. Firefighters pay or meetings, monthly training meetings.
Okay.
Okay, and then on page 12 of 22,
Yeah.
the budget, you saw there was $25,000 there. That's registration. So that's not wages. All the wages are
Gotcha.
back from page 1.
Okay. Thank you. So we're already nearing our max halfway through the year on wages for the training. And this is only going to June 30. So that's where my concern is. So
This was, I'm gonna no doubt get into this a little bit more as we get into more budget deliberations, but this was our problem last year as well, where we see way over on wages.
That's correct. I remember that.
Yeah, so
That's why we increased the budget to compensate for the.
we increased it, but we didn't increase it more than what the actuals were. So,
If the actual was 190 and we only give you 130.
yeah,
Great.
so we're hedging on who shows up and who doesn't show up to individual events. That's what's blowing that number out of proportion. So we'll have a better look at it this year. And what I'm hoping to find a way that we can track it a little bit better, but struggling with it a little bit as we try to reshape the budget, as we talked about at our last meeting. So shape that budget. It'd be nice to start to break some of that stuff out, but I don't have all of the history of where all those numbers are coming from. It's gonna take me some time to break it out, but ultimately like to see it a little finer detailed, that area.
So just to follow up to that, early into the 1st of September, you spend another 60 or 70,000. Last year we had 190,000 budgeted. Do you think you're gonna be that much higher in the 4th quarter?
If I may, what I'm reading here is we budgeted 130 for wages in these meetings. And we're already at 128,000 in it, and that's only to June 30th. So you could literally double that number by December.
That's what I'm saying. The 2024, the actual was 190,000.
I didn't
Right.
prepare the budget, but I do know we did increase the budget significantly to compensate for these things. And that was one of the biggest subject matters that we discussed, was those wages coming in over. So I don't know how we ended up back here.
You would have been working off of actuals from September, August, when you were doing a budget in October. And then, so you would have been looking at what you had to date at that point. And then you would have also looked at your 2023 actuals, and that's why it jumped up to 130. Again, we're always a bit behind and we're trying to play catch up. Apparently this year's exceptional. But again, as has been noted by this committee, by Chief Davidson in the past, this is not a training bump that is going to last forever. We have a large amount of new firefighters. We have a lot of recertification programs that were obviously recently brought in that the firefighters have to meet above and beyond what they did a number of years ago. So you're going to have this large wage bubble for training over the next year, which should start to level out in 26 and beyond. So it's going to have to be a fluid budget line, because it's hard until we get everyone trained. You're going to have a lot higher than expenses than you would on a normal basis, working under a set of regulations that have been in place for a number of years.
No, I agree with you, but this is one of the reasons why these budgets, they come to us too early, in my opinion. You know, we're not preparing ourselves properly for without knowing actual numbers. We're going in 4 months ahead of even knowing what our actual numbers are. I don't know why there's such a hurry to get a budget done.
When we used to approve budget in May of each year, by the time it got through everything, we would miss, specifically for roads and water mains, etc., the January tendering deadline to get good contractor pricing. And you would be approving a budget, and the work that you approved in that calendar year wouldn't get done to the following calendar year. And that's why most municipalities work on the budget on an annual basis, not on the financial annual basis. And that's why you see many municipalities strive to have their budgets approved either late in the year previous or early in the following year. And that's why we also have long-term capital planning to kind of vet it out. On a operations budget such as the fire department, where we are still going through the growing pains of amalgamating the previous 2 stations, and we have never fully amalgamated out and then looked at trending out those operational costs. This is where you see these challenges. once you have a budget that has existed for a number of years, you can trend out those costs and you can have a more realistic budget each October when you get it. But right now, we're kind of trying to get this to the point where we'll can have a reasonable budget to work with that can be in place for a number of years and then tweak to meet the needs and to be fairly consistent each budget period, where you're only looking at inflationary costs instead of big swings one way or the other.
Because we seem to be struggling that in this particular. But thank you, I appreciate it.
Yes, well,
I think, and to your point, Councilor Rodriguez, when we set our budget to start with, it has calls and training built into that one number, so I can't separate those out. The current budget is, but when just speaking of training in particular, when we set the budget, we know basically how many firefighters we have that need to be certified, but we don't know what courses are gonna be available. Furthermore, we don't know who's gonna be available to take those courses. So the only thing we did know this past year was who needed what. And now we're getting them all into those courses before July 1st, 2026. So it'll be reflected in this budget and next year's budget. So they should, that, as Adam described it, you know, that bubble should work its way through the system, and then we should be able to get a better grasp on where they're gonna go, and then I'll look at what I'm getting at with my thoughts on the budget is I'll get at separating those different wage groups out so that we know each is going. But that's not even achievable this year. It'll be once we're past that certification bubble.
Okay, on page 13. Two, the budget part. There was a it kind of went over budget on the repairs at Wyoming Hall, I believe. We budgeted 3,000 and we're at 3,079. I was just wondering, I remember you mentioning something about there was fridges and coolers. Is that maybe played a part in it?
Okay, so what you're under general maintenance, repairs, expenses, inspections and tests,
Yes.
budgeted 3,000 and we're at 5,078.28.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I had also marked that on my budget sheet to look into to see, you know, where it's all in that account,
Okay.
but it's not, that's for both stations.
Oh, okay, so. No, I guess my question was maybe it had something to
You-
do with the
you-
Wyoming.
You could be 100% right on that, that fridge that we
Yeah,
did spend a fair bit of money on, and
Yeah.
then association bought a new one.
and then the computer software, second from the bottom, so that has to do with the fire flow. So do you have everything you need now on that, or is there more that could be done to help? More investment needed there, to get things done smoother?
Really appreciate this question. Yeah, so
I love stuff.
we are, I'll say, using a very bare bones product. And we're adding modules. That was the one little increase there was a module that we added onto it to help us function and be able to get these stats out for the reports. There likely will be in the future some big software needs and possibly switching vendors, some upgrades to it. So we're getting away with pretty low maintenance costs, I would say. I know they don't look super low, but some of these programs are pretty expensive.
I appreciate it.
So I think you're very insightful in the fact that will be something in the future, whether it's, in 2 years or 10 years, I don't know at this point, but likely what'll happen is if we have to switch, it'll be because the current vendor gets out of the business or because of our involvement through dispatch and through the county system, that we all have to be in the same records management system, and then we would end up going to a much more expensive program. There's good things and bad things about that, but one is the cost and the other is what you get out of it.
So I guess more to my question is, are you?
Do I see that line going up
You
more?
jumped right at that, I'm putting that on my Christmas list.
Yeah.
Which is fine,
No,
but right now, are you getting your? To
Yeah.
what we need to do here.
I think so. I think
Okay.
we're able to get by with the system that we brought in 1990.
Yeah.
1998-ish.
Yeah, I know, I appreciate
Fire
it.
Pro.
I appreciate you do need to, it does need to move forward.
And trust me, from my standpoint, as soon as we change it, it's a lot more work trying to switch everything over. So as long as we can use the system that we have, I'm pretty happy to do that, but it becomes incompatible. That's, I think, when we have
It
to
is
change.
painful, changing stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Page 15. Breathing air system. I just noticed on the turnout gear, there's cleaning testing. We kind of doubled there. So I'm just not, I know overall in this budget, we're on target. So I appreciate that. I'm just,
Yeah, your budget sheet has all the same things highlighted as mine. For good reason, right? These are the
Yes.
things we need to look at, and I totally respect that. So we did have, I honestly didn't think that line had run over that much. We did have all of our gear cleaned. And I don't know that there was extra needed. We even took advantage of the free shipping program. So I'll look into that line some more, but
yeah, maybe there's just something in there that's misplaced or something.
yes.
Page 16. At the top. I mean, on the insurance, the vehicle insurance, is that correct?
Yeah,
The very first line, so, my guess is, this ladder truck is the result of a significant increase in, insurance here. That's my guess, am I right or wrong?
Page you on now, Kristen?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 16,
Page 60.
top line. We budgeted 150,000 for the insurance and it's 178. Change.
Well,
Yeah, again, I'm not sure what that's
It's a significant increase, and my guess is it has to be the ladder. But if you could let us know.
Yeah.
It's possible that, but it is kind of fleet insurance as well. Yeah, but I know our insurance rates, I think the 22 budget I was doing that. And I worked through Norma and everything else and that, what's the insurance? That it's here. That, that's on my draft budget. Then it went up to here. And I did that final, it was through the final, I just got the final numbers for Norma and there was like, I think it was around 37% increase in taxes and insurance, I mean, in 1 year. Yeah.
Is that the reason for that?
That could be, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think I recall, and the whole town hit out, insurance rate. 20 something, yeah, it was a huge percentage. I remember the discussion, so. Which we didn't know about till the last minute there, so. I'm not saying that's not the question you're asking now. It could be in the ladder 3, but I remember the big overall increase in the whole, everything, the whole budget for insurance.
Okay. Page 18 of 22. Under communication expenditures. Bottom line in that box, It's not a big expense, but we didn't seem to budget anything for portable. It says, portable walkie-talkies. But yeah, we have an expense in there. Maybe it's just misallocated or because we do have it.
Yeah, that's, have the same one highlighted. It's probably something that was in the wrong line. This is my beef with this whole budget is
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
got stuff all over the place and it needs to be cleaned up. Just when we go to apply account numbers to things, there's always like 3 different accounts that any one given thing can come out of because it's such a mismatch of it's just become that way after the 2 budgets were jammed together. So
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
I'll look into that one.
Thank you. And then breathing apparatus, the Xbox down air tanks.
38, 31.
Yeah, it was there just some inspected expenses there, or do we anticipate any more going into that line item for this year?
I'll look into what's in that to start with, but I don't think we have the bought houses this year. I don't think we do.
Well, anything we bought.
Yeah. So that's,
800.
again, that's under capital, so it should be for new equipment in that line.
Okay. All right, and I just wanted to make note on page 21 of 22 under revenue. Invoice. So the MTO, our actual for 2024 was actually 22,488. Okay. And you only anticipated 10,000 in revenue in our budget and we're up to 14, so that's good. Yeah. Just
Page
need
on
that.
again, my pages are different than you. You're 22,
21.
21.
Of 22. The actual numbers on the, yeah, oh, I don't know what your paper.
Yeah, that's a good point, and we like to try to be conservative with that number so that we don't overcommit because it
Mhm.
balances our budget the wrong way, sets it the wrong way if we guess wrong. So
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's just nice to see.
Good, and
Good
that's-
job, Nicole.
that's
Okay.
definitely Nicole's doing and choosing stuff down.
Yes.
That's it?
Did you want me to find more?
No.
Yeah, no.
The mayor, do you have anything?
Pretty well exhausted from that.
Yeah, it's pretty well everything I had highlighted.
Actually, though, it's a good report, though.
And then, to Christian's point, we like, this is why we want these quarterly budgets, so we can see what's going wrong or what's not, we're overspending on the budget and how we're gonna make it up by year end. And that's why in all the committees, we have the quarterly report. And that way, if you see something that you're way over budget on, you might have to adjust accordingly to kind of meet the final figure at the end of the year, do some jockeying, but whatever. So, okay.
No Christmas party, no.
No, well, that'll be in there somewhere.
I'm kidding.
Okay, any other comments on the report here? You got any more? Chris, you got any more?
No.
Okay, thanks, Will, for this report. I find it quite interesting when we look at your responders. How many's responding, Wyoming versus Kamalaki, different times of the year, like you look at April, May, and June, and you look at almost can see yourself coming into summer when not so many people are responding. That's why I love these bar charts because that kind of lets you have a clear picture of it. Now the other one that I'll just comment, I thought that was quite interesting. Call by response type, and you look at your fires, and it's up to 2. But then you look at your false alarms, 7. We just put a false alarm bylaw in place. As you know, and I think most of them are after three offenses before you can do anything. But unauthorized open burn, hair burn, looks like there was only maybe 1 of them. Of course, vehicle collisions is always up there. Canceled calls was kind of interesting too, because almost half the calls were canceled. And then I see medical quite high too. And that one always kind of interests me because, think of medical calls. I often wonder, well, what are they that the ambulance can't handle? Something like that. Like, I don't know the answer to that, like compared to you guys. So if a call goes out for medical call, and the ambulance is on the way, police are on the way. Are you always on the way? Like, did it always dispatch you?
Our protocol with tier response is basically now that vital signs absence or severe life safety at risk. Everything else, other than that, we're usually not called. And it's just that, again, getting the closest people there as fast as possible. And somebody calls in and broke my arm, yeah, they're not calling us.
So these medical that I see here, 5 calls would have been, like, that's from April till June, would have been pretty serious stuff.
Yeah. Probably a VSA, vital signs absence call, is what we typically see our majority of our medicals as. Tiered response more so in the areas of vehicle accidents and things like that, where they send police, fire, and ambulance tiered response.
And yeah, no, I just find the way you're doing this, I like it. I like the bar charts. It kind of gives you a clear picture of what's going on. So yeah, thank you for that report. Any other questions on it? Yes, Chris.
I would just like to follow up on that, just to say, I do appreciate that it is a very small snippet. Until we get much more data in, it'll give more of a bigger picture. So I appreciate that.
Okay, all in favor of Will's quarterly report? Thank you. 2%.
So Councilor Rodriguez brought up the fact of separating out the reports. So again, this is a comprehensive operational report meeting the requirements of NFPA 1720. It's meant to be comprehensive to show the operations of the fire department from where they've been called to, types of calls, their operational responses, and the budgeting. So I don't think it's appropriate to break out the report as it stay. That report has to stay like it is, I believe. So does this committee as a whole want to see a whole separate report again with the budget on top of that? Or are they comfortable receiving it as a full comprehensive operational package on a quarterly basis?
And if I may,
No.
there's some NFPA code that says you have to present it like this. Is that what you're telling me?
This is what I'm guessing from the background information presented in Chief Davidson's report.
Well, the standard speaks to, not in so many words, the standard speaks to tracking these certain things, which are tracked in the graphs. But we all know it's money that drives it and has an impact, is impacted by it and whatnot. So to me, it only makes sense that the money follow the operations, so we can talk about where we're at financially as well. But no, to answer your question directly, the NFPA does not say that you have to have your budget in.
So I'm saying that it doesn't need to be in there. I mean, I think a good compromise here might be just your agenda item heading. It does not specify what your second quarter report details. So it's just saying it's a second quarter report. It doesn't speak to budget update. So maybe it could just say / budget update.
Just change the heading.
Second quarterly report, operations and budget.
Budget update.
Budget.
You okay with that?
Operations and budget update.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just looking at heading and no idea that there's a budget sitting in there as a reader. So it's just more about that. It's not a big deal. Good compromise.
A good compromise, yeah. Because come the next meeting, we'll be doing the budget. We'll see the third quarter report. Okay, all in favor of Will's report? You. Okay, moving on to the next item there, was moved by Kristen Rodriguez, second by Mayor Gary Atkinson, that the report by Nicole Campbell, Executive Assistant Corporate Services, dated August 29, 2025, regarding the 2026 Fire Exec Committee calendar be received. Fire Exec Committee approve the 2026 committee meeting dates and the approved meeting dates be forwarded onto the town clerk for inclusion into the 2026 council and committee calendar. Any questions? Kristen?
Thank you. Do it. Wait, where we had 1 month off, 2 months on. Yeah. All right, so just for the November, December and January, I find that that's a little bit of a stretch there. Coming at year end, things like that. I'd rather see that stretch maybe in summer or something.
Adam?
So the January can be definitely added, but that would be for this year. The November and December isn't there because there is no committee technically at that point. Our procedural bylaw disbands the committee at the election time, and then it's up to council to reform the committee. The first opportunity for council to reform that new committee would be, I believe, if I'm remembering the dates that the clerk gave to me, would have been November the 18th. So that would be the first opportunity for council to contemplate the committees and their structures and their chairs and their members. So that is why there's no meeting scheduled for November and December, because until the council reforms a committee, there's no committees at those times. So we will be pushing to make sure that the budget is presented in September of next year. And that way it has a secondary approval date of October at the latest. That way this committee will have its opportunity to provide comments on the budget and endorse it prior to it going. So.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Forgot.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one that called in this morning.
Yeah, I had
So what the
to
heck?
practice that because I had to talk to the clerk about it.
3 months. I said 3 months is a long time.
So that's gonna apply to all committees.
It's, yeah, so, and Adam and I talked about it today. If there was something came up, we can, like, chair can call a meeting at any time anyway, so.
Yeah.
The mayor can, if there's something important that needs to be immediately addressed within the fire department, the mayor of the time can call a special council meeting to address that issue.
So. Okay, all in favor of the calendar? Gary, thank you. Hey, 6.3 of the agenda tonight, 2026 Fire Services Fees Committee. Get it on the floor. That was moved by Mayor Gary Atkinson, seconded by Kristen Rodriguez. Report by Will Davidson, Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, dated August 22nd, 2025, regarding the 2026 fire service fees. We received the committee endorses the proposed changes. Staff be directed forward proposed changes in the 2026 comprehensive fees bylaw for council consideration. Any questions on that one?
Can I speak to it?
Yes, sir.
Through the chair, so just first point. In the left-hand column under items at 4, I noticed there's a spelling mistake under fees. And it says cost plus and additional, should be plus any additional cost. That must have been in the old bylaw. I'm assuming this was just copied out of there, so make that a grammar spelling mistake change. But overall, we tried to say in the report, this really captures things that we were doing in the past. It gives us a little bit more clarity as to when we're charging fees and what they're for. The one thing that I did add in here under F2, false alarms, was that they will be billed on the 3rd and all subsequent calls. Previously, it just said that we would be billing for them. Find what happens in those situations is then just don't do it, period. So at least this way we can, keep track of them. When we get to 2, that would signal me to go talk to them. And then on the third, we could bill. So I think it's a lot better system. It's very consistent with other municipalities as well. If there's any questions, I did change that F2. Kristen, you probably know this terminology, but NFPA 72 has some defined terminology for these unwanted alarms. Mechanical wasn't in that standard, so I made it consistent with the NFPA standard. Why that change there?
You've crossed it out.
Yeah, the mechanical and added nuisance, unintentional and unknown.
And grammar errors in F2.
And again?
And instead of any, and again in F3.
Goodness.
Copy, paste.
Well, check.
I found it once. So we'll make those changes.
Yeah.
It's already pretty well read through there. Then we were talking about cost plus and
Well, it does,
Did I have
it
that?
does any and
Yes.
or cost plus any, it's not and.
In the highlighted section, yeah, that's where we made the update. By rights, I guess it could be. I think it makes more sense with the word any.
yes, I agree, cost plus is a term in billing and everything else as well, so. That would. Plus usually is the additional term, so additional items.
I don't think you need any or and, say cost plus additional. I did have a question. How did you arrive at the recovery basis plus 15% on some of your items here? The 15%, is that like admin? What is the 15%?
We had that somewhere else in here.
It's in F4 and it's in,
Yeah, in the highlighted, but I think, I thought it was in here somewhere else and I've just was, just keeping it consistent. But it is an administrative charge. I'm sure somewhere in here, oh yeah, in what's crossed out there, it said in F4, it used to say replacement cost plus 15% for invoices over 500. So we've just gotten rid of that stipulation on invoices over 500. I mean, it's a percentage, so it's year two. It's not like it's gonna be a surcharge for a lower invoice. It's just a 15%.
across the board, which I appreciate, realize, I just don't know how you arrive at the 15%, that's all, I just don't think
Yeah.
15% is realistic.
I did, and I'm not stuck on that number. I didn't, I just used it because that's what we already had in the fees bylaw.
So clear it's for administration and cost recovery. I would think 20% is probably more that I see normally.
And I-
Business, so.
I would be open to whatever the committee would like to see there.
Let me ask you a question on your current MTO rates. Is that when you get paid so much per truck? Does that include the men on it? Is that all calculated in there?
So it's
Why
500.
can't you just eliminate the 15% totally? You're getting the truck that takes into account personnel on it anyway.
No, so
Isn't that what you said?
The chair, the 15% is a processing fee. It's basically the time it takes to gather this information for probably the whole stuff. Put it together and it's new. So when you use materials from different vendors at a call, for example, she would have to go back and find out, how much did that cost? So that takes some administrative time. It's meant to capture that.
We're already paying you guys anyway, so kind of double dipping, aren't you?
Well,
It's not for personnel, it's for,
It's for you to collect though from, it's not that I'm getting it or Nicole's getting it, it's so that you can compensate.
it's cost recovery.
Oh, no, I appreciate that, but when you look at, you sent trucks out here to somebody having a fire. Send out 2 or 3 trucks, you're looking at $1,500. Now you tack another 15% on top of that. I think you're being well paid at the MTO rate. That's all I'm saying. The MTO is pretty attractive.
I think it's more there that when we go to a barn fire or something, we need a backhoe. The bill comes through us. Then we can bill back for the backhoe plus 15% for us paying and collecting.
It's not, if to your example through the chair, it's not those calls. If you look at F7 would be the situation you're charging,
Yeah.
you're talking about in it, that 15% is not,
It's not there.
it's not there.
Okay.
So it's more as Chief Jordan describes, like if we have to use a resource or hire a contractor, then there's a bit of administrative time that takes.
That certainly explains it. Okay. Is it, Chris?
Well, are you okay with the 15%, or I think 20% is more realistic? From anything I've ever seen, it's more the standard. Or a flat rate. Rather than a percentage, because I don't understand what the 15% applies to. That's where I'm still stuck on. What is that relevant? You know what I mean? Because that could be such a very. We could be charging 15% on $2. Maybe a flat rate makes more. It's because there's no fixed numbers here.
Well, when I look at this and I read it, it says additional equipment. This is the additional equipment, resource and services are billed back on cost recovery. Does it need to say any more than that? If it's 15% or your cost recovery is 20%?
You got to say it in there that you can't send them a bill for $500 that we were billed from JD Excavating and then tack on that another $75 that without explanation is built into their fee schedule.
So we're basically, if I could put it into some context, that's very relevant for us. Under hazardous materials, F4, where we might use a bunch of booms and dikes, absorbent material. We could have a few $1,000s worth of supplies. Now we're gonna have to go and send somebody to pick them up, to replenish them, inventory them. So I would think we're trying to recover some of that cost.
Then I guess my final question is, are you guys happy with 15% or do you need more? Is it covering your costs or isn't it the 15%? If not, then Christian's suggestion might be very legit. You dump it like you should know, are you getting your costs back or?
I don't think we can track it. It's gonna be just it's gonna go towards it, and it certainly isn't gonna make us rich, especially with the frequency of use, which is very low on this, so.
Is it?
No.
Is it very low? Then we're having a conversation really.
Yeah.
Thanks, okay.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Gary, you have anything else on that topic? Okay, all in favor of it? Yep. Okay. Here. 7.1, there's no items at this time on bylaw. Oh, that was a question I was gonna ask, sorry. On false alarms. You said you're going to charge on the third offense. Is that what I heard? What does our bylaw spell out? What's the council's bylaw?
You'd have to match
Was
that.
it after the third or was it?
It would have to match that. So if that's
Yeah,
whether it's third in that bylaw or not, that bylaw has to match this one.
yeah, that's,
Sorry, if these bylaw has to match
Yeah.
the alarm bylaw.
so I'm not sure.
I presume it's the third offense. If it's not, this bylaw would have to be changed to match.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said after the third. I thought it was after the third, but I'd have.
The other bylaw has to change to match, one or the other.
The
Well, the
bylaw that establishes the right to charge the fee is the bylaw that overrides. the bylaw that sets the level of fee would have to follow that.
So,
Because this is just a summary of the fees, the financial side of it. The ability to make that charge is found in the other bylaw.
so Chief, can you just check on that and just see what the final council approved bylaw said? Not sure the number of the bylaw, but I thought it had said that 3 strikes and then after that you just get that. Oh, charge on the 3rd, so
This is
No, this says you're allowed 3.
on the 3rd.
on the 3rd, I believe it says.
Okay, that's all I have on that. Okay. Moving on, no 9.1, there's no items at this time on the correspondence. New business, Mayor Gary.
Just a couple of observations. First of all, we have the new light in place, the north end of, Wyoming. I'm sure the firefighters will be made aware of that. By north to, assist. Secondly, the crossing, CN crossing, I understand through our Director of Public Works that there's a good possibility that they'll be working on that in October. So I'm sure you'll be working to set something up, Chief. Fire trucks on the south end of town as well. And my third one, will the old truck be ready for the Wyoming Air Parade?
Okay, through the chair, I appreciate those reminders. I'll be sending something out to the firefighters about that light, making sure that they're observing the new traffic light as they should be. And we will work with CN on or getting us whatever we can with services. We'll have to talk to Public Works probably to see if we can get a truck over there again. And as far as the 32 bumper goes, I understand it will not be ready for the parade next year.
Christmas?
Santa Claus parade?
It should be done. I heard from Captain Freer that it was very close, so I expect it'll be here in October.
I knew the target date was hopefully for the fair, but I just wondered if it would be ready or not. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have on the new business.
Kristen, anything? The only thing I would have is we got the fair coming up next weekend. Are both fire departments involved in it or any are you involved in it?
Yeah, so we can have a brief discussion on the fire department's involvement with it. You know, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this fees schedule. From time to time, we are asked by service groups to provide certain services. It's becoming harder and harder to tax our members with those services and expect them to do that when we're also expecting them to do training events. Or keep up with their training and take on more training. So what I'm speaking to mostly is, you know, the request to do first aid and things like bartending and different items like that. So the approach we've taken that I've taken is that, you know, we have a mandate as a fire department to provide an emergency service. Of course, we will help out and be, you know, friendly in the community the best that we can, for sure. The service group side of the department really falls into the associations. So, you know, we're one department, we have 2 stations, station as its own association. So I've drawn a bit of a line in the sand where we have events. Some are fire prevention, public education type events. And some are not. So anytime an event is a public education event, it's our criteria, it fits what we do. So our members are asked to do that on behalf of the fire department and they're paid duty, they're paid to do that and delivering messages. It's tracked in your reports that you see. So they're very much a fire department event. These other events that do not include prevention, I'm asking the associations, I'm asking the service groups to go to the associations to see if they will volunteer to be part of those events. So we've had some success with that, and I know they're not always able between the two associations, they're not always able to meet the needs of every group, but they do the best they can, and they're all, so far, they've all been good events that I would 100% support in terms of the fire department supplying apparatus to the event, for example, using our equipment, even if it's not a paid event. The association could do it, but could use, with approval, could use town equipment. So ultimately, we're seeing more public education events because it's just an easier flow, and it also helps us get more public education out there. So anytime we can, we swing it to a prevention public education event. So we are involved in the fair. There's met with the fair board, the parade committee, a week ago or so. To provide to block the road in some areas, block certain streets with apparatus. We also have the summer send off on the same day as the parade on Saturday. Yeah. So we'll have equipment there as well. We'll be doing some public education at that event.
So just touching on that, so is that paid duty? Firefighters get paid for all that?
When they're doing fire prevention.
So they're blocking the traffic
So
here.
they don't get paid for that. That's
Bars with the social club?
that's
Can't
not our
lie.
mandate as a fire department to provide bartenders, so it wouldn't be something that I would be engaging. Kamlaki event is a public education event. We were able to, quite easily, it was very easily into a public education event. It's that has the setting for that, so it will be.
Okay, I didn't realize it was a parade. I kept looking on the flyer to see if it parade at noon, but I didn't see anything.
11 o'clock.
11.
Parade is at 11.
11, okay. I won't be here, but.
And we'll of course have our apparatus, what we can.
Okay. Yep, so yes, go ahead.
I'm using fire trucks to block roadways. Is that pretty standard to do? I just think it's really expensive equipment and really hard to replace. Don't we have some old public works trucks we can use?
If you have public works do it, we fall under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, which means we have to close the roads. We have to have a road closure plan, traffic control plan, and we're unionized, therefore we're paying our staff time and a half to do that. If emergency services do it, they have legislative abilities to temporarily close a road, which we don't have our ability to do so in a quick and inexpensive manner. So although the equipment they're driving is significantly less than our pickup trucks, their ability to do it is significantly faster and it's expensive to do so.
That's expensive unless you wreck a fire truck.
If that would be correct.
But the legislation piece, I understand.
So, and like I'm going to use my pickup truck to block the road. Then we'll probably use truck 5, Wyoming station's pickup truck to block the street. They want the big red shiny trucks in.
Oh, I know, and it's looking at all this stuff in the news lately and all these tariffs and where these trucks come from and the costs of skyrocketing. It's like now they're like precious.
Okay, any other new business, chief? Big chief.
None, thank you.
Okay. And yes,
So under new business, you'll see that draft budget is there. We wanted to make sure committee was
Yeah.
aware that the chief will be presenting you the draft budget next meeting. He's working on a notably consolidated version, which takes into account that the department acts as one department, not multiple departments squished into one budget. So hopefully, as we were discussing earlier, there's a lot of efficiencies to be had, and it's much more clear and understandable than it has been in past years.
excellent. Because there was a lot of duplication over the past few years and.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
I often describe it as consolidation of the budget, and I kind of have to stop myself from doing that, because it's not just consolidation. It is also breaking some things out into more detail so that we have a better grasp of what's actually happening, to your point from last meeting. But some of it is very repetitive in different areas, so that stuff's getting consolidated and the rest is.
Yeah, do we have to know that you're got a rodent bill at Wyoming and Kim Leckey? Like, things like that I can do. Thanks.
Okay, then, moved by Kristen, second by Gary, that the Fire Exec Committee adjourns until October the 6th, 2025 at 5 p.m. All of the chair. All in favor? Gary, thank you.